and welcome back to SF Live. I'm your host, Myrna Lim. Tonight we have a very special guest. As you know, we have the sheriff's race going on in the city and county of San Francisco. On November 8th, we have the mayor's race. We have the district attorney's race. The sheriff's race, as you know, has not happened in a long time. The former sheriff, Sheriff Hennessy, decided to retire after 30 years. So suddenly there's this vacuum in leadership. Tonight we have one person who has served in law enforcement for the last 30 years. He is a native San Franciscan. As a matter of fact, one of the things he likes to tell people is that his first job was in third grade selling peanuts at the Giant Stadium and the 49ers game. But he used to be the president of the San Francisco Police Officers Association. He works for the Attorney General, Kamala Harris, as a senior advisor on law enforcement. He has worked as the president of the Walden House. He has worked as chief investigator for the district attorney's office under former District Attorney Kamala Harris. So anyway, without ado, welcome, Chris. How are you?
Well, thank you, Myrna. I'm great, and thanks for having me.
How's the campaign? Are you enjoying your life yet?
The campaign is exciting. It's
Yes.
fun. It's great getting out there and meeting people and shaking hands and talking about the great work the Sheriff's Department
Right.
does. And one part you left out about my resume, which I appreciate you going through for me, is I was the undersheriff of San Francisco also.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
I
about
was
that.
Sheriff Hennessy's undersheriff
Right.
2010, and it was a great year, and it was a great part of my career to be recruited by Sheriff Hennessy
That's
to
right.
be his undersheriff. And
That's
so
right.
I've been fortunate. San Francisco's been great to me and my family. I've had
Right.
a great career here. So the campaign is just a natural step, I think, to a job that my 30 years of experience culminates in. I think my 30 years of experience leads me to the office of sheriff. And
Right. So with being the undersheriff under former Sheriff Hennessy and
current Sheriff Hennessy.
oh, it's still current. Yeah, that's right. Until the end of until the end of the year.
Right, yeah.
What is it about his legacy that you'd like to continue, and what sort of changes do you think you will do to reflect your vision and your own persona into the job?
Great question, and let me be clear. There's only one Mike Hennessy, and
Right.
Mike Hennessy will go down as probably the greatest sheriff in the history of California.
Right.
He's the senior sheriff in California.
Mm-hmm.
He's the most innovative sheriff in California. He's done more in law enforcement and in public safety than any sheriff in California, and he's so respected. I've traveled
Right.
up and down the state talking to other sheriffs, and the work that Sheriff Hennessy has done is highly respected. Having said that, I think that we never rest on our laurels.
Right.
It'd be easy. Anybody could say, I'm going to carry on Sheriff Hennessy's legacy. That's kind of a no-brainer.
Right.
I think change is inevitable, though, in life. In anything, change is inevitable, and we better be ready for change. And I think having that mantra in life prepares me to be ready for change and to create change and to be
Right.
and to be a change maker.
Right.
And I think that's what it takes in leadership in the Sheriff's Department, because there's a lot going on in the state right now. There's a lot going on in the criminal justice system.
Right.
Things are going to change, and we've got to be ready to change with them. And thanks to people like Mike Hennessy, I mean, we're ready to change. We've done a good job in San Francisco in the Sheriff's Department, in public safety,
Right.
in innovative programs. And my vision will be to get the best and the brightest and keep it going. Bring the
Right.
best people to the table and do the best we can, not only for our deputy sheriffs,
Right.
not only for our civilian staff, not only for the public safety of San Francisco. And that's what this is all about at the end of the day. This is about public safety. This is about the safety of our neighborhoods, our communities, and our families.
Right.
At the same time, part of public safety has to be the big picture. It
Right.
has to be taking care of the people that are incarcerated. It has to be
Right.
trying to get them to a point in their life where they don't have to come back to jail.
Right.
Because let's not forget, these people aren't coming from Mars. These are our
Right.
people. They're coming from San Francisco. People that come in and out of our county jail are San Franciscans, and they're young
Right.
people. The majority are young people, and I think we have a responsibility to hold them accountable,
Right.
to help them where we can help them not recidivate.
Right.
But again, at the end of the day, keep our cities safe. And keep them safe while they're incarcerated, and keep our deputies safe.
Right.
So public safety to me is everything comes together. It's
Now,
all.
let's talk about what this realignment's impact is going to be with the sheriff's office. Okay, so the governor and the legislature, California legislature, had approved, based on the legislative analyst's recommendation, the realignment where prisoners are going to be transferred to the various cities and counties. So there's 58 counties, and you're talking at about $6.8 billion. I guess to a lot of people, that, you know, it's kind of hard for the day-to-day person to actually think in terms of what that means. But then also the other aspect is the fact that the state's budget is a mess.
Right.
What happens if the $6.9 billion do not happen, or you know, if the state does not have that kind of money, especially considering that the budget right now, as they had forecasted, is way off the mark. They thought they were going to have this, you know, a little bit rosier than usual budget, and then they're finding out that already they're short about almost $600 million.
Right.
So, based on your knowledge working in the state and working for the Attorney General, how is that going to impact our little San Francisco?
Well, that's a great question. And the governor wrote in his office, created AB 109.
Right.
And did carve out this money for 1 year. The challenge is going to be ongoing years. There's no guarantee. This money is not set in the budget. So we're going to have to, as leaders in this state, go back to Sacramento, whether it's something on the ballot to put it in the Constitution, the budget.
Right.
That's a possibility that might have to happen.
Right.
To guarantee that money, because the governor's got to come up with the money every year. So how that's a priority.
Yes. Question is
and
how.
As a leader, as an elected leader in law enforcement, as your elected sheriff, it'd be my job to join with my colleagues up and down the state to make sure that happens, and to make sure that that money, that funding, is somehow guaranteed. And I think that's the challenge. One of the challenges we have.
Well, okay, let's talk about the inmate population. So far, how many inmate population is there in the county jails? About 2,100 or something?
In San Francisco today, it's roughly around 1,500.
Roughly 1,500.
So we do have some space available. We do have some room here to
Do you
grow.
have any projection as to, with the states, if this realignment happens, how many more prisoners?
You know, Myrna, and everybody agrees they're guesstimates.
Right, of course,
This is a moving target.
Right.
And Sheriff Hennessy and his staff, under Sheriff Jan Dempsey, have been doing a great job working with the city family to put together the county plan, the county committee plan. And, again, the numbers are guesstimates. So anywhere from 150 on up, some projections up in the outgoing years up to 700. So the projections are not good, but we're not. But I think we can do it.
And it's not something you look forward to having anyway, right? I mean, the fact is, you want to have as few as inmates or prisoners as possible, so you have to get them before they get into the system. Now you have all the budget cuts that are all coming into fruition now with the judicial system, that is, with the superior courts, with all over the state, with the cut in the budget. I mean, the people who are accused have the right for a speedy trial.
Right.
So then you don't want all these people sitting in jail waiting for their time in the court. I mean, so do you have plans to work with the district attorney's office and with the judges? How does this all come to play, I guess?
Well, that's a great question, and that's something the district attorneys, also in the courts, we're going to have to talk about. Because if a defendant is looking and knows they're not going to go to state prison under realignment, they already know that, so they know, well, then I'll just take my chances and go to a trial.
Right.
If I'm not going to state prison anyway, I'll just I'm already here in county jail.
Right.
So you hit upon something that's going to be a problem, and it's going to be a problem for all of us, and the district attorney, the courts, and the sheriff's department.
Right.
And that's what realignment is going to be about. It's going to be everybody rolling up their sleeves and working together. It's going to be breaking down the silos. We can't work in silos.
Right.
We've got to be at the table together. As a city, we owe
Right.
that to our city. And that's a good point you bring up.
Well, and then how about with the public defender's office?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jeff Adachi is a very good public defender. He's running for mayor, by the way.
Yeah.
Of course, you know that. But I mean, that's another aspect in this whole
Right.
wheel of,
Mm-hmm.
of the judicial criminal system.
And Jeff Adachi was one of the authors of the plan. The county, San Francisco County plan. Jeff Adachi, the chief of
Okay.
police, the chief of adult probation, the
Right,
district attorney's
right.
office, Jan Dempsey representing the sheriff's department. We're all at the table writing this plan.
Right.
So everybody is at the table and working together. And I believe that's what it's going to take. And I believe it's going to take, we're talking about a long-term
Right.
plan to get this right. And it's
Right.
going to take, listen, it took us over 20 years for the California prison system to get in the shape it's in. And it's in bad shape. The
Uh-huh.
Supreme Court's just told us what we've already known,
Right.
that the system is broke.
Right.
It needs to be fixed. Thus, the governor, AB 109 realignment.
Right.
We're not going to fix it overnight. It took 20 plus years to get here.
Right.
Everybody needs to realize that. There's no quick fixes at the Board of Supervisors. There's no quick press conference. This is going to take a lot of work and a lot of involvement by a lot of people, community people, nonprofits, law enforcement, leadership across the board. It's going to have to be at the table working hard on this and coming up with new ways to do business. And the criminal justice system is going to change the way we do business around this.
Right. So then, as a sheriff, though, I know a number of sheriffs, and a lot of them, as a matter of fact, I keep forgetting his name. The guy founded the Healing Circle. Do you know him?
I know the Healing Circle. I've been to it, yeah.
Right, on San Jose Avenue.
Right.
And the guy who founded it
Yeah.
is actually a deputy sheriff.
Uh-huh.
But what I'm saying is that something like that would set as a model
Mm-hmm.
to for a lot of as a preventive mechanism,
Sure.
so that the youth do not think there's nothing sexy about crime or
Right.
getting killed. I
Right.
mean, with the Healing Circle, a lot of the African American kids,
Right.
males, are thinking that they will not live up to 18 years old. That's pretty devastating for somebody to be thinking
Right.
like that.
Yeah. Very devastating. And again, it gets back to this is a holistic problem.
Right.
This isn't just a law enforcement problem. This isn't just a community problem. This isn't just a treatment problem. This is a problem we all have to come together on. And
Right.
the communities have to come together on it. And we have to work hard at it. And that's the bottom line to all of this, Myrna, is recidivism, stopping these young people. I talked to a young person when I was the undersheriff. I was out in the county jail. And I
Right.
spent a lot of time in the jails. And this young man was about 19 years old, 19 and a half, I think. We were
Right.
talking. And he told me, he was from the Bayview,
Right.
that he'd been running the streets since he was about 13. And this was the first time that he got in county jail where he had to sit still for more than 1 or 2 days.
Right.
He told me, he said, Undersheriff, this is the first time somebody's looked me in the eyes in years and said, you don't have to live this way anymore.
Right.
We can get you in a program. We can get you in 5 Keys Charter School. When you get released, we can find a good program for
Right.
you. That's the work that we need to do. That's the work we have to just keep building on and building on. Now, let's be clear about it. There's other people, though, that don't want help, and they need to be held accountable. And the people
Right.
that commit serious violent crimes will be held accountable.
Right.
So there's two issues at hand here: public safety, keeping people incarcerated that need to be incarcerated,
Right.
but helping the people that we think can drive down that recidivism rate.
Well, okay. I mean, the whole idea behind being in prison is to rehabilitate people.
We would hope so.
I mean, is that really? I mean, is that really happening? First of all, you got to put the fear of God into these people, right? And say, look, you cannot do that. And you have to turn your life around. But at the same time, for those people who actually move up, I mean, step to the plate and say, yes, I got to change my life. I
Right.
can't be messing up like that. Are there opportunities for them, especially in this climate where good people cannot find jobs,
Right.
where the youth,
Mhm.
the opportunities for youth are
Yeah.
almost it's very rare.
Yeah.
How do you handle
Yeah.
that?
That's the challenge. I mean, you're absolutely right. We're in an economy, we're in a
Right.
job market that's tough for people. The union members are out of work.
Right. Of the union members.
So we have to, again, we have
Right.
to get creative. We have to, whatever we're doing now, we have to do it better.
Right.
Everything's got to be on the table. The best of the best got to come to the table. I would challenge all the programs, and I would challenge all the nonprofits to come to the table and get
Right.
get even smarter on how you're doing business. Let's all figure out better and better ways to do this. How do we get young people jobs if there's no jobs? Or maybe
Exactly.
we get them. How do we get them in school full time post release? We
Right.
get them out of jail. We make them go to school full time.
And how
whatever
do they
we do.
live? I mean, where would they get the income to do that?
That's always a challenge, and that's always something we got to work on. And a lot of them have families. A lot of them have support. If they can turn their life around, if they can stop drinking or using, we know that there's a high number of substance abuse offenders.
Right.
So that's the first, we got to get them to stop using and drinking to where it's affecting their lives. We got to get them a high school diploma. A lot of them just don't have an education. So it's a multifaceted problem, and it's not going to be answered overnight. And we just have to keep working at it and work harder at it. And like I said, the prison system in California is not something we should be proud of.
Right.
It's not done. The young people, there is the rehabilitation. I mean, a lot of it's because of the economy, the state's
Right.
budget. The first thing that goes is programs, and
Right,
so
right.
that, it's-
Well, do you see a lot of gang members going into the county prison system?
the county jail. Sure, there's gang members in the
Right.
county jail, and we have what's called classifications.
Uh-huh.
They're classified when they come in, and we separate them. But then we also try to work on their issues around that, if we can.
Right. So, and yet with all those challenges, you want the job. Boy, it's depressing just listening to you.
Well, I want the job because it's the job I've done for many years in San Francisco, working in treatment and working in law enforcement and public safety, and I think it's a challenge I'm up for, and I have a passion for doing
Right,
the right
yeah.
thing there. And so, and again, I think that the San Francisco Sheriff's Department is a big department. It's a big
Exactly.
job, and you opened up with a very good point. There has not been a sheriff's race in 30 years.
Right.
A lot of people in San Francisco aren't even aware about the Sheriff's Department.
Exactly.
And that
What do
goes
they
that
do?
goes
What
to
is what the sheriffs
that
do?
goes to Mike Hennessy's greatness as a humble man.
Right.
He hasn't spent his career bragging about what he does. He just does it.
Right.
He's got the job done. And so a lot of people don't know what we do and what
Right.
needs to be done. But I would submit to you that it's the average police department in California is very, very small. The Sheriff's
Right.
Department in San Francisco is huge. There's 880 deputies, over 100 civilians. That's a big department.
Right.
1,500 to 2,000 inmates. That's a big department. It's a big operation with a
Right.
lot of moving parts.
Right.
And it's a job. It's something people in San Francisco need to pay attention to. And I applaud you for doing this show, and I applaud
Right.
Comcast and public TV. People need to pay attention. They need to take serious look at this race.
Exactly.
This is
Exactly.
not a throwaway job. This is a job that requires a lot of leadership, a lot of
Right.
experience, and I think I have the experience and the leadership to bring everybody together and to lead that department.
Well, speaking of leadership, you're a mainstay in San Francisco
Thank you.
politics and civics and so on and so forth. So, in that regard, so how is the campaign? You kind of had joined the party a little bit later, but than most of the guys. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
so how's
I didn't join as late as Mayor Lee, but a little late. But I think we're doing great. I feel good. I feel
Right.
strong. I feel the campaign
you've
is
got a
strong.
momentum going?
I got momentum, and I think people know me.
Yeah.
If you look at the people supporting me,
Right.
it's because they know what I've done over the last 30 years.
Right.
And then more and more people are coming on every day
Right.
to support me. So I feel good about the campaign.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your list of endorsements, and it's like the who's who in the state in San Francisco. You've got Senator Feinstein, Kamala Harris. You've got the San Francisco Police Officer Association,
And I'm proud of those endorsements, but I'm even more proud, Myrna, if you look at my website, chriscunnie.com, you'll see about 900 names on that are just not electeds,
Right.
not the city's, movers and shakers, but
Right.
real people. And those people have signed up to support me in the last 6
Uh-huh.
weeks.
That's pretty good.
So I'm proud of that, and I think that's why I can say this campaign's strong, and
Right.
and the people.
And
of the
you're
city
out there
know.
knocking on doors and
We're doing it all. We're doing it all. Making phone calls, knocking on doors,
waving the signs,
waving the signs, and
talking to people.
it's an important race, and I'm going to be proud to be the sheriff of San Francisco.
Well, I believe you'll be a very good sheriff.
Well, thank you, Myrna.
So, how do people help you and contact you?
Go to chriscunnie.com.
Okay.
CHRISCUNNIE.
And we will upload this show on
.com.
YouTube, and you can put it on your website, and then
Thank you.
we'll air this on both Channel 29 and 76. I'll let you know when those schedules
All right.
are.
Good.
But yeah, that's excellent. So, how are you holding up? You get up early in the morning. You're out there making phone
Right.
calls,
I'm
going
up
to
early.
parades, going to street corners.
Doing it all, and staying strong and taking care of myself, and I have a lot of support. I have my son lives with me, and he's helping me every day, and we help each other, and just a lot of family and friends and supporters and
That's
everybody.
excellent.
We just feed off each other. It's great.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chris. Well, 22 minutes goes so fast. Now we have
Yeah.
like less than 30 seconds. And so anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And don't forget about Chris Cunnie. Go to chriscunnie.com. And please do not forget, the election is November 8th. And of course, you can vote by mail, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
The ballots will be out 30 days beforehand and before the election. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Good night.